The first voices of the past are rarely words. They are echoes waiting for someone willing to listen. Frontier Archives, Builder Translation Records. No one followed immediately. The newly awakened road stretched into the mountains like a ribbon of living crystal. Its pale blue light reflected softly across the silent valley. Every step Zandor had taken still glowed beneath his boots, not fading, waiting. Behind him, the Ashari remained motionless. Some watched with curiosity, others with uncertainty. A few quietly knelt in prayer, not because they feared the road, because they sensed they were witnessing something that would never happen again.
Should we go after him?
No one answered. The question hung in the cool mountain air.
I do not believe this road belongs to us.
But he shouldn't go alone.
The old keeper lowered his eyes.
I do not believe he is alone.
Those words unsettled everyone present, because they all felt the same thing. The mountains no longer felt empty. Zandor continued walking. The silence surrounding him was unlike anything he had experienced before. No insects, no birds, no wind. Even the sound of his own footsteps seemed strangely distant. Every movement was absorbed by the crystal beneath him, as though the road itself listened. The deeper he traveled, the older the mountains appeared. Crystal formations rose hundreds of meters above the pathway, some twisted naturally toward the sky. Others looked almost carved, not by tools, by purpose. Every few steps, the crystal beneath the pathway pulsed gently, not randomly. Each pulse traveled ahead of him, as though announcing his arrival.
I'm here.
The words escaped before he realized he had spoken them. He did not know who he was speaking to, only that remaining silent suddenly felt disrespectful. The pathway answered, not with language, with light. A gentle wave of blue illumination traveled away from him into the darkness ahead, far beyond the next bend, far beyond where his eyes could follow. Something had received the message. Far behind him, Elder Karam watched the distant lights spread into the cliffs. He had spent nearly 80 years preserving stories that no longer seemed impossible. The first keepers, the sleeping roads, the singing mountains. Every legend had begun awakening one after another.
We remembered more than we realized.
For the first time in countless generations, the oldest stories of the Ashari were no longer history. They had become the present. The Crystal Road did not merely lead into the mountains, it disappeared into them. Every step carried Zandor farther from the world he understood and deeper into one that had waited beyond memory. Behind him, the voices of the Ashari slowly faded. Ahead, only silence remained. Not an empty silence, a listening silence. The pathway curved gently around towering crystal formations that rose from the mountainside like frozen waves. Morning sunlight passed through them in thousands of directions, filling the narrow valley with shifting blue and silver reflections. The light moved constantly, not because the crystals changed, because the road itself seemed to breathe. Zandor slowed. His peacekeeper instincts urged caution. Every unfamiliar environment demanded observation before movement. Every unknown structure could conceal danger. Yet nothing here resembled a battlefield. There were no defensive positions, no surveillance towers, no weapons, no signs that anyone had ever intended to fight.
You weren't soldiers.
His own voice surprised him. He had not intended to speak aloud, yet the thought refused to remain unspoken. The builders had mastered technology beyond anything humanity possessed. If conquest had been their purpose, the galaxy would never have resisted them. Instead, they had built roads, archives, places of learning. Questions began replacing assumptions. The road widened. Crystal pillars emerged from the stone in perfect intervals along either side of the pathway. Each pillar stood nearly twice Zandor's height. None carried writing, none displayed symbols. Their smooth surfaces reflected only the passing light. As Zandor approached the first pillar, its surface awakened. Blue light spread upward from its base in slow, concentric bands. The crystal did not illuminate because he touched it. It illuminated because it recognized he was there.
Recognition.
The word came naturally. His military training had taught him to recognize automated security systems. This felt similar, yet profoundly different. The builders were not verifying identity, they were acknowledging presence. One by one, every pillar farther along the road awakened, not simultaneously, sequentially. Each greeting passed to the next until the entire pathway shimmered softly into the mountains ahead. The road was introducing him. Far behind, Elder Karam watched the distant lights spread into the cliffs. He had never seen such beauty, nor such sadness. For if these roads still remembered their guardians, how many centuries had they waited without one?
They never stop believing.
Who?
The first keepers.
But they're gone.
Yes, and yet their hope remained.
Luma closed her eyes once more. The singing crystal floated quietly before her. Unlike yesterday, it no longer sang. It listened.
They know he's afraid.
Afraid?
They remember that feeling.
How can a road remember?
It isn't the road.
A long silence followed.
It's the people who built it.
Far ahead, the pathway curved sharply around the mountainside. For the first time, Zandor saw what lay beyond. He stopped walking, not because something blocked his way, because words failed him. Suspended between two sheer cliffs, an immense crystal bridge stretched into the morning mist. It possessed no visible supports, no cables, no towers, only elegant arcs of transparent crystal flowing together as though grown rather than constructed. Beneath it, a canyon disappeared into darkness. Above it, the first rays of sunlight ignited the bridge until it seemed to float between earth and sky.
Impossible.
No, not impossible. Impossible had become an idea belonging to the old world. He stepped onto the bridge. Nothing moved, nothing trembled. The crystal accepted his weight without sound. Far below, blue light answered from depths no eye could measure. The mountain had accepted its first guardian. And somewhere beyond the bridge, the builders had prepared the next question. Zandor remained motionless upon the bridge, not because he feared falling, because every instinct he possessed told him he was standing inside something no living civilization had ever truly understood. The bridge did not feel abandoned. It felt occupied, not by people, by purpose. The crystal beneath his boots remained perfectly transparent. Faint streams of blue light moved endlessly through its interior. Countless threads crossed one another in elegant patterns, never colliding, never slowing, like rivers flowing beneath frozen glass. He slowly knelt. The polished surface reflected his face for only an instant. Then the reflection changed. His own image faded. In its place, another figure appeared, tall, slender, wrapped in robes unlike any civilization Zandor had ever encountered. The figure stood exactly where he now knelt, hands resting calmly before them, looking outward across the canyon, waiting. No sound accompanied the vision, no explanation followed. The image remained only a heartbeat before dissolving into flowing blue light once again. Not a recording, not a hologram, a memory. The bridge had not shown him information. It had shown him someone who had once stood exactly where he now stood. The realization unsettled him more than any Dominion weapon ever had. Machines recorded, machines calculated, machines obeyed. Memories belonged to living beings. A quiet pulse traveled beneath the bridge. The blue threads inside the crystal brightened, one after another, moving away from him, like a message being carried somewhere beyond the mountains. Far ahead, hidden beyond layers of crystal cliffs, ancient builder systems acknowledged the arrival of a guardian. Deep beneath the mountains, silence ruled. It had ruled here for thousands of years. No footsteps, no voices, no machines, only darkness, until now. A single beam of blue light traveled through an immense chamber. It crossed polished crystal walls without visible source. Ancient conduits awakened one after another. Massive pillars illuminated. Endless corridors slowly emerged from darkness. Not quickly, patiently, as though the city itself refused to hurry. Far beyond the chamber, an enormous circular mechanism rotated for the first time since the disappearance of the first keepers. Dust that had rested for millennia drifted silently through the air. No alarms sounded. No warning systems activated. The city recognized no threat, only a return. One doorway after another unlocked. Massive crystalline seals separated without noise. Hidden passageways opened deeper beneath the mountain. Each opening revealed another. Each corridor led toward something even older. The builders had never designed this place to impress visitors. They had designed it to guide them. The command bridge of the Oblivion Spear had become unusually quiet, not from discipline, from uncertainty. Every Dominion officer had been trained to understand the battlefield. Today, the battlefield no longer obeyed the rules they knew.
General,
Continue.
the energy propagation has altered again.
Another increase?
No, it has become directional.
The holographic projection changed. Instead of expanding equally beneath Kairos, the blue energy now flowed toward a single destination. Every pathway, every harmonic conduit, every awakened builder system, all converged upon one point beneath the western mountains.
What is there?
We don't know.
No,
He slowly approached the display.
we simply have not arrived there yet.
For the first time since entering the Kairos system, General Vorak stopped thinking like a conqueror. He began thinking like an explorer. That frightened him more than any enemy ever had. The bridge seemed endless, not because of its length, but because time itself felt different upon it. Every footstep echoed softly through the crystal beneath Zandor's boots. The sound did not disappear. It traveled forward, as though the bridge carried each step toward something waiting beyond the mountains. He stopped once more. The crystal beneath his feet no longer reflected the morning sky. It reflected stars, thousands of them. Entire constellations drifted beneath the transparent surface. Nebulae, galaxies, worlds unknown to every modern civilization. It was as though the builders had trapped the night sky inside living crystal.
This isn't decoration.
He crouched again. One gloved hand rested gently upon the bridge. The stars beneath the crystal shifted. Not randomly, they slowly aligned themselves into recognizable patterns. Trade routes, gateway paths, ancient navigation corridors. He had never seen them before. Yet somehow his mind understood what he was seeing. Not knowledge, recognition. One constellation brightened, another faded, then a third. The entire crystal surface slowly rearranged itself until only a single brilliant point remained, far beyond every other star.
Is that?
The answer never came. The image dissolved. The bridge became transparent once more. Whatever had shown itself had decided it had revealed enough. Far behind him, the mountains quietly closed, not sealing the entrance, only narrowing it, as though protecting those who remained outside. The road had accepted a guardian. It had no reason to call another. The Ashari watched until Zandor disappeared into the morning mist. No one spoke. Every heart carried the same question. Would they ever see him again?
He didn't even look back.
No.
Shouldn't he have?
Karim smiled gently.
If he had looked back, he may never have continued.
The old keeper understood something the others did not. There are moments in every life when the future demands more courage than the past. This was one of them.
He isn't leaving us.
Then what's he doing?
He's walking ahead.
Again, no one fully understood her words, yet none dismissed them. Since the awakening, Luma no longer seemed to speak only for herself. Sometimes it felt as though Kairos whispered through her. Far beneath the mountains, another chamber awakened. Unlike the immense gateway halls, this chamber was small, circular, perfectly silent. Its walls were formed from polished crystal, unlike anything found upon the surface. Not blue, not green, almost transparent. Tiny threads of golden light flowed beneath the crystal surface, like thoughts traveling through living stone. At the center of the chamber stood a single pedestal, empty. It had remained empty for thousands of years, waiting. As the signal from the crystal road reached the chamber, the pedestal illuminated. One narrow beam of blue light descended from above, then another, then dozens. The empty air above the pedestal slowly filled with countless floating fragments of light. Not holograms, memories, waiting to become whole again. Elsewhere throughout the hidden city, thousands of identical responses unfolded. Doors unlocked, archives synchronized, power flowed through ancient conduits. Not awakening randomly, awakening in sequence. Somewhere deep beneath Kairos, an intelligence older than every living civilization quietly observed the process. It did not speak, it did not interfere. It simply confirmed that the Guardian had begun the journey.
General,
Yes.
our surveillance drones have lost visual contact.
Destroyed.
No, they simply cannot see him anymore.
The bridge officers exchanged uneasy glances. Every drone remained operational. Every sensor functioned perfectly. Yet the Guardian had vanished from every Dominion display.
The builder systems are masking him.
No.
Vorak slowly folded his hands behind his back.
They are introducing him.
For several long seconds, no one understood what their commander meant. Vorak himself was not entirely certain. Yet somewhere deep within his military instincts, he recognized a ceremony when he saw one. Whatever the builders had left behind, they were not hiding Zandor. They were welcoming him. The farther Zandor walked, the quieter the world became. Even the sound of his own breathing seemed strangely distant. It was as though the crystal road separated him from everything behind him. Not physically, emotionally. Every step carried him farther from war and deeper into history. The bridge slowly narrowed. Towering crystal cliffs rose higher with every passing minute. Morning sunlight reached the canyon floor only in scattered beams that shimmered through transparent formations suspended high above. The air grew cooler, not cold, still, ancient. Then the pathway ended, not abruptly, gracefully. The crystal blended seamlessly into polished stone, unlike anything Zandor had ever encountered. It was dark, almost black. Yet faint streams of blue light flowed beneath its surface in slow, deliberate currents. The floor appeared carved from a single impossible piece. No joints, no seams, no evidence of construction.
This wasn't built.
His fingers brushed the smooth surface. It felt warm, not from heat, from life. Without warning, a circle of pale blue light appeared beneath his feet. Perfect, symmetrical. Ancient symbols slowly emerged around its edge. They did not resemble writing. They resembled mathematics. Harmony, relationships, patterns. A language designed to be understood long before it could ever be read. The circle expanded, one ring, then another, each larger than the last. The light traveled silently through the chamber floor until it disappeared into the surrounding walls. Nothing happened. For one long moment, absolutely nothing.
I don't understand.
The mountain answered, not with sound, with memory. The darkness ahead dissolved, not physically, visually. The stone itself became transparent. Beyond it, another world appeared. An enormous city stretched beneath the mountain. Crystal towers reached hundreds of meters into cavernous chambers illuminated by gentle blue sunlight that had no visible source. Suspended bridges connected impossible distances. Rivers of luminous energy flowed beneath transparent streets. Countless structures filled the underground world, none abandoned, none ruined, silent, waiting. For one impossible heartbeat, the city lived again. Figures crossed distant walkways. Children ran through open courtyards. Towering crystalline trees shimmered beneath artificial skies. Voices echoed softly through the vast chambers. Not one word could be understood, yet every conversation carried warmth, belonging, purpose.
They were alive.
The vision vanished, the city disappeared. Only silent stone remained. Zandor stood perfectly still. His heartbeat echoed loudly inside the chamber, not from fear, from loss. He had witnessed an entire civilization for only a few seconds, long enough to understand one thing. The builders had not vanished because they failed. Something had happened, something terrible. Far beneath the chamber, an ancient mechanism awakened. One enormous crystalline sphere slowly began rotating inside a chamber, hidden even deeper below. Thousands of tiny lights appeared across its surface, one after another, until the sphere resembled a night sky filled with stars. A single point of light brightened, then another. Both slowly moved toward one another. Finally, they touched. Across the hidden city, builder systems acknowledged the event. Guardian synchronization, 1%. The silence upon the Dominion flagship had become unbearable. No alarms sounded, no weapons fired, yet every officer sensed they had crossed an invisible boundary. General Vorak studied the latest builder telemetry. The numbers no longer mattered. Patterns did.
They expected someone.
General?
This was never a defense system. It is a welcome.
No one answered, because every officer secretly feared he was right. Zandor slowly looked forward. For the first time since entering the mountains, he noticed something waiting beyond the chamber. Not a city, not another bridge. A doorway, unlike any doorway ever built by human hands. It stood nearly 30 meters high. Its surface appeared carved from crystal darker than space itself. Blue harmonic light flowed endlessly across intricate geometric patterns covering every centimeter. At its center was the same symbol he had seen inside the vault. 3 concentric circles surrounding a single vertical line. The doorway had not opened. It had not spoken. It had not moved. Yet somehow Zandor understood. His journey had only just begun. End of part 2. Continues in part 3.